The Ichimoku cloud is and has been one of my favorite indicators for years, and you can literally predict the future with it in a way that you can't do with any other tool. So I want to break down for you exactly how I use the Ichimoku cloud. And the first thing to take note of, guys, straight away is that if I switch this indicator right back to defaults, this is a very bloody complicated indicator to use, right? So, there's a lot of different ways you can use this indicator, and I am not going to explain all of them. In fact, I'm going to ignore most of them. There's only one way that I've been using this Ichimoku cloud for the past nearly 5 years, and I'm going to show it to you right here in this video. I'm going to explain to you all of the key facets of this indicator, how it can predict where Bitcoin is going to moon and why this can be very, very powerful in the market right now, and also a couple other things that you need to know for this indicator. And it's worth noting that this video is going straight into the 𝗪𝗪𝗥𝗙𝗦 Academy course, so this is the kind of content you can expect if you want a free trial into our paid products. Bam, right here. But let's get straight into the rest of this video. So I just want to focus on the Ichimoku cloud right here. First of all, we got to start with how do you get it. You're going to click on the indicators button right at the top of trading view, and then you're going to type in Ichimoku cloud. Now, if you don't already have trading view, there is a link in the description down below. You can sign up to trading view, and of course, again, inside of our 𝗪𝗪𝗥𝗙𝗦 Academy course, we do teach you how to use trading view from start to finish. So if you're unsure about all of that, you should actually just rewind the whole video and first type into YouTube how to trade 𝗪𝗪𝗥𝗙𝗦. Just type this into the YouTube search bar and you can watch my full tutorial on how to actually trade, and I'll tell you about all of this stuff from A to Z so you don't miss anything that's important. But you're going to pull up the Ichimoku cloud simply by typing in Ichimoku cloud on trading view. And just very quickly, it's worth saying, just out of respect to this indicator, what does it mean? Ichimoku means at a glance. So this is an indicator that you can use to very, very quickly at a glance understand exactly what's going on in the market, which is absolutely critical if you're looking at a brand new chart. It's to the point where now the way I use it, it's very, very easy for me to use this indicator just within a few seconds and understand fully what this chart or what any chart is showing me. So I'm just going to load it back up with my settings and just run you through how I've changed the indicator. And the first key thing to take note of is that the numbers have changed, right? Previously, if you just get the Ichimoku cloud up normally, it's going to have a few different settings, right? We've got 9, 26, 52, 26. I've gone ahead and used the settings 20, 60, 120, 30. Now, there are no settings which are correct for this indicator, but these are the settings which are generally used inside of the crypto market, and they've been amended because crypto markets function 24/7, and the Ichimoku cloud default settings are not made for crypto markets. So there is no correct settings to use here, but this is the one that I use. The next thing that I've done is I've just basically gone ahead and hidden the first three options right here, the conversion, base, and lagging span. These each have Japanese names. These are not the correct names of the indicator lines. And then I've just gone ahead and thickened the clouds, whereas previously, the outlines and the clouds are here. I've just gone ahead and thickened them because whereas previously they weren't actually very easy to see, I've just made them a little bit easier to see, again, at a glance, so that it's just a bit easier to understand. Let's get straight into it though. That's all the boring stuff out of the way. What does this indicator actually do? So it's very straightforward here. I'm going to bring this onto the 2017 chart because the best examples of its usage, in my opinion, were back over here, where generally what this indicator does is it paints clouds. And so we've got green clouds and we've got red clouds. And green clouds, as you may have imagined, are where the market can find support. Red clouds are where the market can find resistance. The whole idea here is that the thicker the cloud is on the chart, the bigger you can expect, or the stronger you can expect that support to be. So, for example, when the cloud is not very thick, like right here, it's going to be easier for Bitcoin to penetrate the cloud overall compared to at a point like here where there's a lot more support. Or on the flip side, like here, where there's a lot more resistance, right? It's pretty safe for us to say that, at this point in the market, as we're, trending down, this cloud is getting thicker and thicker and thicker. And if I replay the chart forward, we're now in 2018, by the way, April 2018. This cloud was very, very thick, so I know that as Bitcoin is approaching this resistance, and actually I covered this on the YouTube channel back then. We've been around for a really, really long time, so make sure you subscribe to this channel if you want to keep on catching content like this, I will know that as we approach this resistance area right here, this is a very, very thick cloud. So I'm expecting strong resistance. And it's a very smart indicator, right? Because it's telling me where that resistance might be in the future. And I'm going to get to why this can predict Bitcoin to moon in just a moment. So smash up the likes if you're excited for that. But it's a very smart indicator because it's telling me where I can expect heavy resistance based off what happened before. And the way that it's able to do this is, and not only based off what's happened before, but in the future as well. And the way it's able to do this is essentially it's looking at what's happened in the previous candles. And if we've seen strong sell-offs like this, that's going to show us that there's actually a lot of bearish momentum in the market right now. And it's going to tell us exactly where we can expect it, which is generally where we saw aggressive sell-offs in the past. So again, very, very smart. It takes this work out of your hands so that you don't have to do it. You just sit back, click a button, and the whole bloody thing does it for you. Let's move it back to the support though. This is the first thing, is that it operates as support. So generally, when the market falls into the support cloud, we can expect a bounce coming off it. And you can see just how reliable this was during 2017 when the market had a very, very clear trend. Obviously, like with most other indicators, you can't use this indicator when there's no clear trend. A good example of this is if we take a look at the chart on, for example, the 1 hour time frame. There is no trend, for example, right here. It's pretty clear to see, one second. It's pretty clear to see that the market is not really moving around in this range, right? I mean, it's bouncing from low to high in a 17% range, and most of the trading is happening actually in more like a 5% range, and Bitcoin was stuck here for about 13 days. So on a short-term time frame, it's pretty clear to see that there is no trend. So we're alternating from a resistance cloud to a support cloud to a resistance cloud to a support to resistance to support to resistance and then support again. Indicators fall apart when the market isn't ranging. So you need to understand when to use them. The same thing applies to every single other indicator. And this is the reason, by the way, that if you're new to trading and you're new to analysis and you learn about an indicator on YouTube, or you learn about something from a book or something like that, and then you actually go out to use it in the real world, you're like, a lot of the time it's very confusing because it just doesn't work as perfectly as the books and so on demonstrate it to you. It's because they don't tell you about this stuff. So there is a time and a place, and you need to know it for every indicator, of course, including this one right here. So it can predict for us where the market is going to find bounces, and then, of course, rejection. So the very same move in the opposite direction where, bam, we get a rejection coming into this cloud. We challenge it again. Where is that second challenge? Bam, right there, challenge it again. And again, we couldn't break it. It was still fairly thick at this point, and the market continues moving. We challenge it again right here, and we couldn't break it. I mean, this is just a perfect example of how it ends up working. And then eventually we get the big crash down to the $3,000 range where everyone is feeling absolutely terrible about themselves, and the market is very, very fun to trade in. Now, here's where this gets exciting, right? If Bitcoin is able to break above key levels of resistance, that's generally when we can get explosive rallies, right? So again, I'm just going to bring us back to what happened back in 2018. It's actually pushing into 2019 at this point now, where Bitcoin fell down. This is that big crash I just showed you a few seconds ago. Bitcoin fell down, traded in the $3,000 range, and it still had a big area of resistance up ahead. But it finally was able to break after, let's just count how many attempts we had of this indicator. And this is where we get onto how Bitcoin can moon. We were rejected once right here. The key thing about this indicator, right, is that not only can the cloud itself act as resistance, but the bottom and top line, they have the names are like Kumo or something like that. The top and bottom line of the Ichimoku cloud can act as support or resistance respectively, right? So the key levels to watch out for are always the top line and the bottom line, a little bit like this, regardless of if it's a red cloud or a green cloud. These are the most important levels, and you'll see this, right? If we trace this back, you'll see right here, look, where do the candles close? At the red line over here. We'll move it even further back. Where do we find support? At the red line. On this occasion, where do we bounce? Where does the candle close? At the green line, right? So we can find support inside of the cloud like here, or we can find, you know, resistance right at the tip of the cloud as well. Very, very important to keep in mind. The Ichimoku cloud gives us a lot of data on the market, and it's just, you know, depending on the weakness of the market, for example, we may not be able to even penetrate the cloud. You know, there are other occasions where, you know, we don't penetrate deep into the cloud, but the next time, because we penetrated deep into the cloud previously, the resistance gets a lot smaller, right? If we measure this and just take note of how large the resistance range was right here, the resistance range for the Ichimoku cloud spanned $4,400, which I know sounds like nothing right now, but that was like 53% of price action. And then the next time, because we were able to, you know, challenge this area so well, the next time our resistance range, when we finally challenge it, only spans 1,400 or 20%. And actually, just about 45 days later, the resistance cloud closes a lot down to only a 6% range, right? So the more we challenge it, the more it's showing us that, you know, the market has actually a window of opportunity. This is one of the coolest things you can identify with Ichimoku clouds. I love it so much. I mean, it is such an unfair advantage, is that you can understand where the market may or may not have a window of opportunity to break out. And this is absolutely huge, right? You know that if Bitcoin pushes really, really hard in this range, I mean, it's still probably not going to be enough, right? I mean, this is, you know, this is a bodybuilder that's just getting exhausted, and this is like a fucking 200, 300 pound weight plate that this bodybuilder is trying to bench press. It ain't happening, right? It's just not going to happen. There is just too much resistance here. But because we're able to challenge it, it shows us that with time-based analysis, because we challenged this area before, we should, if we can push higher, we should be able to break resistance a lot easier between this, that's the wrong line right there, my bad, between this vertical, this time frame right here, which is from the 16th of June to the 1st of July, this roughly 15-day range. You know that the resistance is really, really small. So if Bitcoin starts getting towards this level, get ready for a potentially explosive breakout. And this brings me on to the next point right here about how we can kind of predict where the market may be finding, you know, big explosive rallies. And even right now is that when we did end up, actually just before I got off track there, let's just count how many times this worked. Once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times that the indicator worked out successfully for resistance, and it was on attempt number 8 that it ended up failing. So we are looking at a 7 out of 8 success rate, or if I just do the math for you guys right here, just with the previous rally, that is an 87.5% success rate. So absolutely phenomenal. Here's the thing, is as soon as we break this resistance level, and by the way, I remember trading this, it was inside of 𝗪flies VIP. If you want to watch me trading, bam, on screen right here. First link in the description down below. Then click on the @𝗪flies button at the bottom of any post inside of 𝗪flies VIP. Sorry, 𝗪flies Gold. This is my free Telegram channel where I give you more analysis, more lessons, and so on trading. And then click on the send message to ask me how to join 𝗪flies VIP. We got over 1,000 people inside. Just find out what's going on. Find out what the prices are. They're very cheap because we price everything in Bitcoin right now. They're very cheap compared to where they used to be. It is still a serious investment, but if you're interested, you want to really learn how to navigate these markets and watch me trading them in real time, it's all on screen right here. But bringing it back to the market right here, yeah, I can't stop talking about it. I told you guys I'll never forget this. I went long on Bitcoin literally the day before this massive pump and closed it all up here and closed parts of it on the rally up. And one of the reasons I was able to identify this among many others is just knowing that, you see, if Bitcoin is able to clear this resistance cloud right here, what it's really doing is clearing an area of resistance that was holding Bitcoin down for a long time. And we know what happens when we clear resistance that's been holding something down for a long time. What you're essentially getting is a lot of pent up pressure. And even though the cloud was really big, I mean, this was a huge cloud at its widest level. It was a 37% range, which wasn't actually as big as the resistance over here, but it's still definitely quite large. Because we're able to break a key area of resistance, we know that the market can probably start rallying really hard, especially because it was previously in a bear market. And so that's exactly what we got. From the breakout point to the next major high that the market set, Bitcoin managed to rally by 185%, or that's 2.8 times, it's a 2.8 times return inside of less than 3 months after breaking the resistance zone right there. Now, on other occasions when we break resistance on the Ichimoku cloud, it may not be as explosive, but this is still a 20% rally right here. On this occasion, the cloud wasn't very strong, but we still got a really, really nice rally. The first leg up went up by about 40%. The next leg up took it up by about 70%. And of course, the very next major leg up actually went up to 65,000. On this occasion, when we broke the Ichimoku cloud, which means that we broke above the resistance area, and now you're seeing how this ties into our current market, from our breakout point initially to the new all-time high, it still managed to rise up by 48%. The key thing here is that as the market kind of falls back down into this resistance cloud, you can see that the resistance cloud really starts to close up, right? If there was a way for me to detach the price, which it's not possible, but if you just look at the Ichimoku cloud only, can I hide these candles somehow? Yeah, look at that. If you just look at the cloud just here alone, it's actually really confusing. Let me hide the wicks as well. Now we have a completely invisible chart. This is really strange. You can see pretty clearly that, we got our breakout at somewhere over here. So a little bit afterwards, we really start to see this cloud clearing up. And by about 30 days later, the cloud has pretty much flipped completely into support, meaning that whereas previously, put it this way, if the market managed to break out over here and fell back in, this Ichimoku cloud is almost going to act as like a black hole, right? Because there's a lot of resistance, we're getting sucked right back into it. But if we're getting sucked back into this range right here, there's not really that much bearish pressure in the market according to the Ichimoku cloud at this point, which is why if I show the candles again, you can see that we didn't actually drop down too much. Now here's the thing right here, is that this Ichimoku cloud that we're facing as resistance right now isn't very thick. Like if Bitcoin is able to challenge it right now by the end of this month, which gives it about 15 days, I'm filming this on the 15th of January 2022, that still means that Bitcoin has to rise up by about 20%, but its resistance cloud on the Ichimoku cloud only spans 4%. But here's the thing, if we start taking a little bit more time, this cloud is going to get thicker and thicker, indicating that it's going to be harder and harder for Bitcoin to find a breakout, right? This cloud stretches from, where was it, like a 4% range over here to an 11% range over here, which, really kind of puts into perspective how much bigger this resistance range is getting. And I want to break down for you why this is. This is a very, very complicated indicator, and it certainly looks like it when you first throw the indicator on, but when you really understand it, that's when you really start to gain an appreciation for it. And guys, the view is just amazing. I got to turn off these lights. The reason that this Ichimoku cloud could be so powerful in a situation like this right here is it's telling us that right now there is a window of opportunity where, yes, there is some resistance up ahead, but it's not very strong. So Bitcoin can potentially get a breakout. And obviously, if we do, we would be looking at a potentially huge explosive rally, potentially taking us, whatever, it's 70,000, 80,000, doesn't really matter. But the key thing is that if we wait and we delay this, that resistance is going to get stronger and stronger. And really, what does that mean? Let's just break this down from a psychological point of view in this market. I got to show you the chart one more time. Here's the thing, is that if the market stays trading bearish for too long of a time frame, we enter a bear market, right? That's just what happens. And so as the resistance gets thicker and thicker, it's going to get harder for Bitcoin to break through it. Now, I think that's a really important thing to keep in mind, because one of the key things you'll see on this YouTube channel is that I do a fair bit of time-based analysis, but it's not like you don't even notice it, right? Like the way I talk about my time-based analysis is that there's just certain what I call windows of opportunity where the market has a chance to have one specific breakout in one specific direction. The reason that I was able to make that, insanely successful trade on Bitcoin when it broke out from this range, when it went from, the $4,000 area straight up to 5K in one day. The reason that I knew this was going to happen is because I knew that the bulls had a massive, huge, powerful window of opportunity on April the 1st. How did I know this? Well, very simply, Bitcoin was trading at a resistance level, and I'm just showing you how this applies to the market right now. This is the reasoning that I used to enter this long position here, where I made one of the biggest percentage profits of my life on part of my position still to date. I mean, I was able to top it recently, but it's still very, very impressive. Is because we were trading at this resistance level, and Bitcoin had a strong characteristic of actually dropping down when it was trading at resistance levels on the first day of the first on the first day of the month, on the first day of the quarter, first day of the week. It was a weird thing. It had a tendency of dropping on those days, and that's usually because, I mean, you blame it on China, blame it on whatever. It was just how the market was operating. That's when the liquidity would be leaving the market for whatever reason. I don't want to go into it. It's not really important, but that pattern was very, very clear. And so I spotted that Bitcoin was able to, it had a good amount of reasons to find resistance at this range, but it didn't on April 1st. And so on April 1st, I spotted this, and I knew that the bears had a window of opportunity to take the market lower, but they didn't take it. They didn't take that window of opportunity. And so naturally, the window of opportunity opens for the bulls, right? That was and I don't know how much sense this is going to make to you, because maybe you didn't actually watch this happening. Guys, just let me know in the comments, were you around when this price action happened? Were you even watching this channel? I'm curious how many of you watching this video were around for that, because that was a very, very big example of understanding windows of opportunity. And again, we bring it back to the Ichimoku cloud right now, and it's showing us that, look, I mean, it's bearish, but that window of opportunity is getting worse and worse the longer we wait. That is what I think is so powerful, but it's also showing us that, like, look, if we manage to break above this, we're above the clouds, we're flying. And that is, of course, where things get really, really exciting. So there you go. That's quite a thorough overview of how I use this indicator. One of the key things that I want to touch on just before I close this off is that this is not an indicator to rely on alone. Actually, there's no indicators to rely on at all, but it's not smart to only use one indicator. I can understand that you'd build a strategy around one or two or a few indicators and so on, and that's completely fine. I mean, you do whatever you think is right for yourself, but at the end of the day, the best way to use any indicator, in my opinion, is to back it up with a bunch of different analysis. Your core analysis needs to be really strong. You need to have a good understanding of what markets do, how they operate. You need to have a good understanding of trends, of continuation patterns, of support resistance levels. You just need to nail those basics really, really well. And if you haven't already, the best way you can do this, if you're new to these markets, is go straight onto YouTube. Just follow this with me. Do this exactly as I do it. And do this very, very simple step right here. Type in how to trade for flies in the YouTube search bar, and you can watch my video, how to turn $1,000 into $1 million, Bitcoin trading ultimate in-depth guide for beginners. This video should not be free. I cannot stress this enough. This is content that should have been paid, and you can watch it for completely free, absolutely no cost, by following these steps that I've just outlined for you all. So go ahead and do that, and I outline this stuff in more detail, and you're not going to miss anything. It's extremely thorough. If you already feel like you're ready for a deeper dive, then once again, bam, link in the description, first link in the description down below. You're going to be able to join my group where I teach you all about trading, absolutely everything I know from A to Z inside of my 𝗪𝗪𝗪 Academy course, which you're going to get for free. Most of the time, most people who join VIP get it for free with their subscription. Obviously, depending on which plan you take, it's only by clicking on the first link in the description down below. That's going to take you to our free Telegram channel where I give you even more analysis, gets pinged straight to your phone. Click on the @4flies button. There's no download or sign up required for this, by the way. It's really, really quick. And then click on the @4flies button at the bottom of any post inside of 4flies Gold, and then send message to ask me how to join. Also, while you're here, check out the link in the description for Bybit. This is the only exchange that I use. I use it to trade Bitcoin. I use it to trade shitcoins. I use it to do absolutely everything. And when you sign up using my link in the description down below, you're going to get up to $4,100 completely free of charge as a thank you from me to you for signing up using my link in the description. So go ahead and check it out. It's free cash. All you have to do is sign up and make your first Bitcoin deposit. It's going to take you about 10 minutes. And then, of course, yeah, if you want to jump into my group, these are the steps. Or if you just want more free analysis and insights from me, again, just that first link down below. So I really hope this did help out. I'm going to be hanging out in the comments. If you have any questions for me, feel free to drop them down below. I'll see you all in the very next one. This was a pretty long video, but I hope you do find it useful. Thank you for watching. Make sure to hit up those likes, subscribe, tick the bell, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.